Sorry, my tripod a little bit. It's a little close for comfort. Hey, Breezy. How are you? Welcome. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Hello, hello. Hello. Hi, New Jersey. What was your name? Sorry, I put my lotion on. I never sit still long enough, except for when I'm on my live. Ken. Welcome, Ken from New Jersey. Oh, there was just a... never mind. My brain is not functioning tonight. My name is Renee, if you're new here. Sorry. Okay, I'm just going to let a few more people hop on and we'll get started. Jessica, thank you for the badge. I appreciate that. Yeah, I figured you were new. Thank you for the badge. Sorry. I'm just a little slow tonight. Thank you for the sharing the live, Jessica. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate that so much. Just gonna wait a few minutes and let some people get on and then we'll get going. I feel like I do have something in my hair. I thought I seen something there. Hello, hello, hello. If you're just hopping on, tell us who you are, where you're from. Hey, Fred, are you there? Lance from Florida. Have you been here before, Lance? I thought you were there, Fred. I thought I saw you. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for the likes, Jessica. Appreciate that. You have. I thought so. All your pictures, I try to remember them, but I don't always, but, you know, I try. So we're just going to let a few more people hop on, then we're going to get started. Oh, I forgot to take my ear thing out. Hold on. Sorry, I was listening to some stuff earlier while I was getting ready for my live. Abid, are you here, buddy? Okay, so tonight we're going to talk about letting go of the old, but I'm going to let a few more people hop on first. See if anybody's going to hop on or if we're just going to plateau out. See how it goes. How was everybody's day? I slept most of it away. No, I talked to my friend. I hadn't talked to my friend in a while, a couple days, and so I talked to her on the phone, and I called my mom, and then took a really long nap. Busy, busy? Busy, busy, Fred, huh? Thank you for the badge, Fred. I appreciate that. If you're just hopping on, tell us who you are, where you're from. I've had a headache all afternoon, evening, so I'm not sure how long I'm going to be on here, but we'll see. Mike. Is it Mike? Hi, where are you from, Mike? Colorado. There you are. Thank you for the badge. Sorry, all of a sudden it speeds up on me. David, I believe it is. Thank you for the follow. Thank you for the badge, Mike. Me, I'm well. Hold on, I have to approve for some reason they're filtering your comments out, Mike. I have no filters on. It's all TikTok. I can't talk tonight. We're going to be in trouble. All right, guys. Well, it looks like we're just going to plateau out, so I'm just going to get started. So if you're new here, tell us who you are, where you're from. If you're not familiar, my name is Renee, and I'm from California. Just recently moved from South Dakota, so just getting used to that. So tonight we're going to talk about letting go of the old, but first I'm going to just give you a little background if you're new here to me, of why I'm here. So I started my TikTok in March of 2024, and the reason I started my TikTok is because, in September of, sorry, AI keeps posting stuff, distracting me. In September of 2023, my husband unalived himself. That's when I discovered that I had abilities to talk to my spirit guides. And then they slowly breadcrumb me to my purpose, which is to be here with all of you beautiful people. And to help others through loss and trauma and just to kind of uplift others. So, you know, if you're here and you've experienced a loss, and a loss can be anything, a job, a relationship, a person, you know, just about anything. You know, if you're just lonely and you don't have any place to go, welcome to my community. That's what my community is for. So, welcome. I always like to say I am on my journey of life where I am and you are where you are, and none of us are going to agree on everything. And so we agree to disagree here. And if you can't do that, I just ask that you hop off and keep scrolling. I only have 2 rules. The first one is we agree to disagree here. And that's actually not my rule. Like I said, I have no brain and I apologize. I always ask that you be kind. And the second one is we talk absolutely no politics. Just not all what my page is about. It's not against one side or the other. Really don't care. It's just not what my page is about. So we don't talk about that here. So, like I said, if you're just hopping on, tell us who you are, where you're from. If you guys could just tap that screen, those hearts really do help me. I appreciate it very, very much. Just a little background real quick. So my husband and I were together for 32 years. Is it Dion? I don't know if I said that right. Martin, Missouri, welcome. Thank you for the badge. Thank you for the badge. Is it Dion? I don't know if I said that right. Or Deanna. Help me if that's not right. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Sorry about that. Chris, thank you for the badge. So like I said, just a quick background. My husband and I were together for 32 years before he unalived himself, since I was 16 years old. Correct? Okay, good. Arkansas. Welcome. And we were never apart more than 2 weeks in those 32 years. And so when my husband decided to check out, you could say, sorry, I have to be careful what I say because of TikTok. Everybody just kept telling me to move. Just keep putting one foot in front of the other. And I literally didn't know how to do that. I could barely breathe. And so once I had discovered that I was going to stay on this planet because I wasn't sure that I was going to, I had to figure out a way to heal myself. My husband didn't leave me in a great spot financially. And so therapy was out. And I'm the circle that don't fit in the square, the odd girl, the unique girl. So I knew that group therapy probably wasn't going to work for me either. And so, like I said, I had to figure out a way to heal myself. And so, like I said, once I discovered that I had abilities, my spirit guides started breadcrumbing me to my purpose. They said my purpose was I needed to get online and I needed to start telling my story and helping people through their loss, because a lot of people don't know where to go. You know, loss is a difficult thing. And so moving forward from that is often difficult. So that's why I'm here. So if you're just hopping on, tell us who you are, where you're from. Bar 57, thank you for the badge. And you remind me your name because you were here the other night. I do remember that, right? If you're just hopping on, tell us who you are, where you're from. If you're not familiar, my name is Renee. Welcome. Glad to have you here. So when I go live, generally, we have something to talk about. Lost in January 29th this year. Christy from Indiana, welcome. You lost somebody the 29th of this year? And I apologize because sometimes TikTok likes to filter my comments, so I might not always get them. But it looks like my mod is on, and she sometimes can see and relay what I can't. You're in the same boat, Martin? Well, I'm sorry. If you'd like to talk about it, yes. Okay. Well, I always believe the topic goes where the topic's supposed to go. So if we don't talk about what I plan to talk about tonight, and we're here to talk about loss. So if you guys want to talk about it, you're welcome to. That's what my page is for. This is what I started my community for. How are you dealing? Are you dealing with the loss? I know, Martin, you said you're in the same boat as me. So my entire world of 32 years imploded when he made that choice. Nothing of my world looked like it except for my children and my apartment and my pets. And so I literally had to start over at 48, 49 years old. So, like I said, it was quite the, thank you for the hearts. I do appreciate that. You know, it's not a difficult, it's not, how do I want to say this? It is a difficult thing to move forward from when you're completely starting over, right? Tootsie, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. Do you have a name, Tootsie, and where you're from? And thank you for the badge also. So many unanswered. Was it foul play? Okay. Well, I am also a psychic medium, so I don't know if you're interested. I do mini reads on Wednesday night. We could maybe dive into that just briefly, yes or no kind of questions. Otherwise, if you're interested, I do a full reading and we could dive into that. I've helped people with that before. If you go to my email down in my bio, not pushing it, just saying, if you go down into my bio and get my email, you can email me for a reading. We could go into that maybe a little bit, but, as far as with my husband, it was not foul play. He just unalived himself. A lot went into that. So, anyway, if you're just hopping on, tell us who you are, where you're from. Bar 57, thank you for all the likes. Remind me your name, please. And I apologize. I try to remember when you hop on again, but I can't always. Hey, Jen, thank you for the likes. I don't know if all the comments are coming through. Let's see. My soulmate of 15 years passed 9 years ago. From then till now, I keep busy housekeeping. I hear opposite of widowers. Thank you for the badge. Bill. Hey, Bill. You know, busy's good as long as you're not sweeping those emotions and those feelings under the rug, right? Just, you know what I'm saying? I gotta scroll back here for a second, guys. Give me 1 sec and then I'll catch back up with the chat. I just want to make sure. Hold on, sorry. Okay. Lance from Florida, thank you for your comment. I do appreciate that. Right? As long as you're not sweeping those emotions, all of that under the rug, busy is good. Sometimes busy can be bad because, you know, people make themselves busy and then they're not feeling the emotion of it, right? Which means if you're not feeling it, you're not healing it. So, like I tell everybody, if you're new here, you know, you can only sweep things under the rug for so long and then eventually you'll trip over the rug. Trust me, I've been there, done that. I had a full-term stillborn in 1994 and I literally did that because I had a 3-year-old at home to take care of and I didn't think I had time to grieve. And it came back about 2 years later and hit me like a brick wall. And boy, did I trip over that rug. So, but yeah, busy can be good. If you're just hopping on, tell us who you are, where you're from. And I am so sorry for your loss, by the way. I apologize. I was scrolling back. I want to make sure that I got your name correct. And I'm so sorry. You know, it's hard. It is really hard. Like I said, my husband and I were together for 32 years, you know, and we'd never been apart more than 2 weeks since I was 16 years old. I didn't know an adult life without him at all, you know. So hopefully I'm getting all your comments, guys. TikTok likes to filter sometimes, and I have no control over it. I have all my filters off. Okay, well, while I'm waiting to see if anybody else is going to comment or any comments are going to come through, I'm going to kind of just talk about what I have to talk about tonight. But like I said, you're never interrupting me. My page is your page. We are not shy here, so you're welcome to pipe in anytime. like I said, I believe the topic goes where the topic is supposed to go. So, so tonight we're going to talk about, and this kind of goes along with loss, right? Letting go of the old. And something just hit me when I went to read that, when I said, it kind of goes along with it. It really does, I finally decided I was feeling stuck. And so I had finally decided that I was going to just purge. And I just purged everything that kind of represented my old life. And it's not that I didn't love my old life or anything, nothing like that at all. But for me, it was time to say goodbye to that old life. Does that make sense? Sometimes we just need to let go of things. And once my husband passed away, everything became a thing to me. Very little was of importance to me anymore as far as stuff. I lost a lot of possessions when he passed. Like I said, my whole life imploded. And a lot of material things were taken from me. And that's when I really realized what was important and that stuff wasn't important, right? So we're going to talk about letting go of the old, release outdated beliefs, habits, or relationships that no longer serve us, right? And for me, it was a life that no longer served me. There was nothing left for me there, right? I didn't belong there anymore. Like I said, it imploded. There was just nothing left. And so for me, releasing, especially just recently in the last couple months of releasing and just kind of purging and selling and getting rid of things that represented that old life that I no longer lived in, for me was very healing. At the same time, it kind of took a weight off, right? It was like, okay, finally, it was kind of finally, a way to shut that door. Does that make sense? Shutting the door to that past life that was no longer. And I know that's hard. My husband's stuff sat in the closet for, gosh, I don't know, probably a year, maybe not quite a year. I don't remember exactly, but it was a while. And it took a while for me to purge his stuff. And then finally, one day I just, I told my daughters, I said, you need to come over. We need to just go through Dad's stuff and just, it's time. It was getting to the point where it was hindering my growth, walking into my closet every day and seeing his stuff in there, right? And so that's where sometimes, like I said, letting go of the old, sometimes it has a way of hindering our growth and us becoming new people, so to speak, right? Evolving as people. I'm going to put this down just a little bit. Sorry. Seems like that light doesn't glare in my glasses if I tilt it a little. Okay, so like I said, releasing outdated beliefs, habits, relationships that no longer serve you. Time to take control of your life back. So what does that look like? Like I said, for me, I was taking back my life, getting rid of the old stuff that no longer served me, right? That relationship was over. That I call it a book. A lot of people say, that chapter, but for me, 32 years is a book, not a chapter. And so, releasing that old life. And one of the things that I want to talk about too is, it's hard for people to release and to, let go, because you think that by releasing or letting go of maybe things, you're holding on to that stuff thinking, that they're still with you. Does that make sense? And I want to reassure you that just because, maybe you get rid of everything and you move forward, it doesn't mean you didn't love that person. You didn't care about that person. It doesn't mean that, that life never existed. It just means that it's part of the evolution of life, of moving forward and growing and not continuing to be stuck. Now some people like to be stuck, and if you're one of them, hey, you do you, boo. But I'm just here to help people that if you want to get unstuck and you're not sure how to do that, I'm here. So what does that look like? Are you actively participating in your own destiny? We talk about that a lot here, goals and dreams and destiny. It goes along with that because a lot of times, thanks for the badge, Jen. I appreciate that. You know, when we're stuck in those old habits or relationships or belief systems, you know, we're really not in control of our destiny, right? Because we're stuck. And that's one of the things that I'm learning. And it was crazy because last year, you know, I literally felt stuck. And, you know, in some ways I was stuck, but my guides proceeded to tell me one day, you know, my guide said, she said, Renee, you know, you're not stuck, right? And I was like, I'm not, because I sure feel stuck. And in the physical form at that time of where I was living and that I was a little stuck, but emotionally, I wasn't stuck at all. You know, she said, no, you're not stuck. We're preparing you for that next door, that next chapter. Does that make sense? And the more I thought about that, and there again, thank you, Dorothy, for the follow. I appreciate that. You know, it was important for me, and this is one of the lessons that I've learned in the 2 years since my husband unalived himself is perspective. Changing your perspective goes a long way too, of taking back control of your life and your destiny and of your, you know, everything. Just changing my perspective to there again, that I wasn't stuck. It's like, no, I guess, you know, if I changed my perspective, I wasn't stuck. I truly believe everything has happened to me. I believe everything happens for a reason. Everything happened to me, happened for me, not to me. I know that's hard for a lot of people to say. You know, a lot of people like to be stuck in that mode of why are things always happening to me, right? And I just don't believe that anymore. I believe that everything happens to us for a reason, right? It's happening for us, not to us. And so, like I said, when I changed that mindset of, okay, no, I'm not stuck. They were preparing me and looking at my growth from then to now and understanding my journey from then to now, even from when he alived himself 2 years ago to now, I totally understand what she was saying. You know, I changed my perspective and looked at it from a different angle and was like, wow, they were preparing me. Because if you're new here, I have had visions of some of my future and I kind of know where I'm going. Not all of it, because they're not going to tell you everything. But I have had visions of my future and I know that I am being prepared for that. So, like I said, changing your perspective. Are you being a bystander to your destiny or are you participating? So first thing we're going to talk about is spiritual growth, right? And a lot of people are like, well, I'm not a spiritual person or I'm not a religious person, or it's more of just, are you expanding, how do I want to say this? I apologize. My brain is just not functioning at full level tonight. I've had a headache off and on all afternoon and evening. But for me, I'll just use me as an example because I'm the guinea pig here always. So, and just know whenever I'm talking about a topic, it's something that I need to hear too. Like I said, I'm the guinea pig here. So if you're just hopping on, tell us who you are, where you're from. But for me, you know, I have spiritually grown as far as, you know, I talk to my spirit guides and not everybody does that. Not everybody has that capability. Not everybody believes in that. And that's fine. I'm not here to push my belief on to anyone else. My page, my opinion. Like I said, we agree to disagree here. But for me, spiritually, you know, I have grown, you know, and I've learned to be able to change my belief system as you would. You know, I didn't always believe the way that I have believed, but I feel like I've grown. Sometimes being a little more open-minded and letting yourself be open to new things and new possibilities. I've always been open to the the spiritual world, as far as I've always believed in mediums and those type of things, and that people can, talk to their guides and all of that. So it wasn't so much that I had to be open to that. But for me is, what is the word I'm looking for? So I didn't have to be open to that, I guess is what I want to say, but some people aren't, right? And realizing that that can be part of your growth. Letting the divine, I call it the divine source, creator, whatever you call it, God, universe, whatever, being open to letting divine guide you, I guess is where I'm going with this, and I am a personality. I am an A1 control freak. I like to control every aspect of my life and every decision, and I'm learning to take a step back a little bit and flow, and letting the divine, my guides, my spirit team, letting them in, letting them help me, realizing that I believe everything in life happens in divine timing, right? God's timing is, as some people would say, right? And so, not taking a step back so far as not being part of actively participating in your own life, but knowing that, okay, I'm going to make plans, but knowing that ultimately it might not be my plan, that happens. It could be the divine, it could be God or the universe, whatever it is that you believe, right? And in their time. So enough of that. So expanding your spiritual growth. What habits are no longer serving you? I know I have a huge one right now that I really need to wrangle in, and that's procrastination. There for the longest time I was working 2 jobs, and it was like, okay, well, I'll do this project that they keep telling me that I need to do. I'll do it. I'm busy right now. I'm working 2 jobs. I'm exhausted. I don't have time. Right. And now I'm learning that I'm finding that I'm a doom scroller. And, for me, when I was working 2 jobs, I would scroll because that was my downtime, my outlet. Right. And now at the moment I'm not working because I'm in the middle I just moved and I'm trying to find a job. I'm doom scrolling a lot, and I have plenty of time, and that's just an excuse now. I need to step up and actively participate in my destiny and be working on the things that I know that I need to work on. Like I told you, when I talk about things on my live, it's just as much for me as it is for you. I'm just the guinea pig here, the example. And procrastination is one of those things, right? I need to learn how to just put my phone down and just actively participate in my destiny and work on the projects that I know that I need to get done in order to fulfill those dreams and those goals that I want to get to someday. So, negative talk. That's something that I've done. I'm proud of myself. I've worked on a lot. I don't talk negative to myself as much anymore. And I've noticed that, when the ego tries to slip in and be like, no, you can't do this or you can't do that, I'm learning how to wrangle my thoughts a lot quicker, right? Before, maybe I would have stewed on something for a couple days or a week or, or all day or whatever, right? And now I'm learning, usually within a half an hour-ish, I'm learning how to wrangle in those negative thoughts and go, no, that's not who I am. Okay. As my grandma would tell me, okay, girlie, you had your pity party. Now pull up your big girl pants and let's go, and wrangling them in a lot quicker. So the negative self-talk, getting rid of that is a huge, old habit that a lot of us need to get rid of. And it's hard because, the world has trained us to always look at the negative instead of the positive, right? Letting go of toxic relationships. This is a hard one sometimes because sometimes the people we love aren't always best for us, right? They're not in our best interest. And so sometimes, and this is what I like to say. You don't have to let them go, but maybe just not talk to them as often, right? Or limit your contact, if you get on the phone with somebody and they're constantly putting you down or not serving you, your highest and best good, then maybe just, hey, how's the weather? Just checking in to see how you are. I'm really busy. I gotta go. But at least still checking in with that person. Does that make sense? But letting go of toxic relationships is huge because we don't realize the people when we're around people that are toxic to us, we become toxic, right? If you're hanging around somebody who's talking about people, and if you're just hopping on, tell us who you are, where you're from, but you are your environment, right? So if you're hanging around somebody that's gossiping and talking about other people, it's easy to slip into that, right? So, maybe, if they like to gossip and talk about people, maybe it's okay to still hang out with them. But when they start doing that, excuse yourself and go, I really got a lot to do today. It was nice seeing you, and then leave, right? Finding ways, if they have to be in your life or you really want them in your life, to keep them in your life, but maybe keep them at an arm's length when you have to, right? Okay, so basically, time to take the reins of your life back, right? Letting go, like I said, the old beliefs, the old habits, the old relationships, learning to let that go, and if you've experienced a loss, like I said, and it's, if you feel, cause it's on your time frame, right? And I talked about this the other night in my live. It's on your time frame, nobody else's, right? If you had a loss and you're ready to get rid of that person's stuff in like 3 weeks, if that's your time frame, that's your time frame. You don't let anybody dictate that. You do you, boo. And if it takes you 6 months, then it takes you 6 months. It's okay, right? You do what you are comfortable with, but take the reins of your life back. Time to actively participate in your destiny, right? And that's, and a lot of people, we go into survival mode, and I lived in survival mode for many, many years when I was with my husband, unfortunately. And then after he left, I survival mode got kicked into high gear, and it was learning how to, no, I'm not here to just survive. I'm here to live my best life. And, I'm going to do that no matter, what it takes, at any cost, really. Like I said, if somebody is in my life, they're toxic and they're not serving my best good and they're taking my peace and they're not, and they're not pushing me forward to my best life, then I'm sorry, you're at arm's length or you're no longer in my life, because I'm at the point in my life, I just turned 51 years old, and nobody or nothing is worth my peace at this point. Nothing and nobody. And, I don't care who they are, sadly, but if they're stealing your peace, then they're taking you from your best life, and they're not serving you. So anyway, just throwing that out there. Does anybody else have anything to say? I haven't really been seeing any comments. Hopefully comments are coming through, or everybody's just really, really quiet tonight. Anybody got anything else they want to add? If you're still here, hello? Anybody want to talk to me tonight? I know I just kind of rambled on and went through that quickly. Okay, well, while I'm waiting to see if anybody's going to comment, just real quick, if you're new here, I do have a YouTube channel. Katie, hello. Thank you for the badge. New here. Where are you from, Katie? My name is Renee. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Just real quick, like I said, I do have a YouTube channel. If you're not a subscriber over there, I would love it if you were a subscriber. That's under Scorpio Medium. All the videos that you find here, you'll find uploaded over there. The only difference is I go live 4 nights a week. And if you miss a live and you'd like to catch that, I usually upload those over there. Upstate New York, near Buffalo. Welcome. I had a friend in Buffalo at one time. I think she's still there. I've kind of lost touch with her here the last year or so. Welcome. Glad to have you here. And like I said, so I am a psychic medium. So if you would like a reading, a full reading, you can go to my email, which is down below in my bio. And that's how you would set that up. Those are still $40 for the hour, but those are going up after this week. So if you want a $40 reading, catch that now, because starting next Sunday, a week from today, they are going up in price. Because I am learning my value. And when I first started doing this, my guide said that I had to charge, and I was just charging. And not that I don't still want to help people, but it is a service that I'm offering. And so I am going to up my prices a little bit, not much. So, but if you want like a full reading, $40, like I said, you can find that down in my bio. I am here, like I said, 4 nights a week, Sunday through Wednesday. I went back to my old schedule, 6:30 Pacific time is when you'll find me. Wednesdays, we usually do mini reads. If I have a mod on, I didn't have a mod last Wednesday, and with Thanksgiving, I decided not to go live. So on Wednesdays, I do psychic reads. I don't pull in anybody from the other side anymore on a live, just because it's complicated. Because what people don't understand is when I have 40 people in the comments wanting their loved one to come through, I have their loved one on the other side, and they're like, me, and they're giving me their messages, and I can't keep straight of whose message is going to who and for what and for why, because they're just so excited that somebody can hear them and they want their message to come through. They don't understand, wait your turn. So it is just too complicated. So I do answer psychic questions on Wednesdays, kind of yes or no question kind of thing, on Wednesday nights. So we call those mini reads. So that's our Wednesday. I also have a Venmo if you would like to leave me a tip. Never expected, but always appreciated. If you enjoy my content and you would like to leave me a tip, I also have a Venmo, like I said, down in my bio. So that's pretty much everything I have. Does anybody else have anything else they want to talk about tonight? Anybody? Real quick. I don't know. I'm starting to wonder if all my comments are coming through, or you're all just really, really quiet. Anybody? Got anything? Or any comments about what I talked about, or a discussion or anything? Anyone? All right, guys. Well, you're all so quiet. All right. Well, going once. Nobody's got anything else they need to just get off their chest today, or had a loss. Going twice. So quiet. All right, then. Well, I hope you all have a great night. You had a loss. Do you want to talk about it, Katie? That's what we do here. Just waiting to see if if I can get your comment. I apologize. TikTok doesn't always let my comments come through. Just need to know if he's okay. Well, I can pretty much guarantee you that he probably is. Because like I said, I'm a psychic medium, so I can pretty much tell you they're okay. Usually it's us that's not okay, because we want them here in the physical world. But they are always with you. Just know that. Okay. Anybody else? Are you dealing okay with your loss? How long has it been? All right, guys. Almost 5 months. Okay. Are you dealing, not dealing? Just know that it's okay to have those emotions. And, like I always say, it's okay to have a moment. Maybe you have 10 moments through your day. Just don't unpack and live there. That's a huge one, right? And remember, you have to feel it to heal it. And it'll take time. And it's on your time frame. Nobody else's. Okay, guys. Well, if nobody else has anything else, I hope you all have a great night. Remember to make tomorrow great, because it's a choice. It really is. I will be back here tomorrow night at 6:30 Pacific time, 7:30 Mountain, 8:30 Central, and 9:30 Eastern, for those of you that aren't sure. Katie, if you need to talk about it anymore, let me know. But yeah, otherwise I will be back here tomorrow night at 6:30 until we meet again.